Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Next Perfect Step, where all possibilities lie in conversation. I'm your co host, Lori Mullen.
I'm your co-host, Kim McStay.
And I'm your co host, Lori Tremblay. Today we have a guest with us, Leah Hill. She's the founder of Sunrise Apollo Center in Merrimack, Massachusetts. And we met her through a mutual friend, Wally Leeson, who appeared on our podcast to talk about nutrition and also about the Big Brothers, Big Sisters program. So we want to give a kudos and a thank you to Lolly. Um, so, welcome, Leah. We're happy to have you with us today, and we'd love to hear about how you founded Apollo Sunrise Center.
Oh, thank you. It's wonderful to be here today. Thank you to all of you, Lori, and Kim, for having me on the show today. How I founded Apollo Sunrise Center, which is it's a health, wellness, and spiritual retreat center. It's in Merrimack, Massachusetts, and it actually originally came to me in a vision back in 2009, believe it or not. I was in meditation and I do a lot of meditation, and I just started getting this vision of what looked like a big house. I saw lots of people, I saw lots of instructors and facilitators, and I just saw lots of things happening all at once. And I thought, oh, that would be fun to do someday. I don't know, it was just a fantasy, I guess. I didn't think it would ever really happen. I didn't feel like I had any of the resources I would need to actually make it happen, and including the confidence in myself to be able to make it happen. I didn't have any of that. And fast forward many years to just before COVID, the image started coming back to me. Like more clearly. I was starting to show up in my dreams. It was getting more involved and more detailed. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll just start, exploring this and looking around and seeing if there's a place where I can do this. I can start this vision that I had of a community, of creating a community. And there was a place I was really focused on, and thankfully everything fell apart with it because it was right before COVID, and that would have been a bad time to open a new business. It was right before COVID, so I felt like the universe protected me in that time. And then once COVID ended, pretty much ended, and things started getting back to normal, I started again looking for the place. And through a friend of mine who knew I was looking for a property, she owns horses, and she said, I'm going to look at this place in Merrimack. Do you want to come along and see if they have something for you? And I was like, yeah, sure. I still didn't think anything of it. I thought it was going to be like just some barn place or something. And when I got there and saw the house, which is actually a guest house for a horse farm, I was just blown away. And I was like, can that really be it? Can that be it? And it was it. It was like I knew it, but then I was still in disbelief at the same time. So that's how it started. Really, it was we're fairly new. It's just we had our grand opening in January, and we're still just getting the word out and building, but it's a dream come true.
Well, we had the opportunity to come and visit you at Apollo Sunrise, and we were blown away too. The guest house is actually more like a mansion,
Yeah.
and lots of beautiful space for outdoor,
Yep.
walking with and then the horses are the owner has horses that are down below, and then there's all kinds of rooms and beautiful spaces for your retreats and workshops. And we were just so impressed to see what you have to offer. This is so exciting. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I also had some intuitive friends along the way that would sort of tune in and say, oh, I see something with, cathedral ceilings and lots of light. And I'm going, what is she talking about? Like, I don't get it. I don't know, until I saw this place. And that's how I knew it was the right place. We're on 20 acres of horse farm right next to the Merrimack Town Forest. So we have access to walking trails, gorgeous views. And, just as the leaves start changing in the fall, we're going to have, rolling hills and horses frolicking. It's wonderful. So it's a good place to be.
The universe says this and better, right?
Right. We have to remind ourselves to ask for
Yeah,
that.
yeah, right.
I know.
That's
Look out.
fantastic.
It really
So,
is a beautiful story of just, being able to sit in a space and let your dreams come through, and then the universe just walk you through the whole process.
yeah, yeah. It was hard to keep the faith through all those years because, like I said, I had no resources. I didn't have the support. I didn't have the people. I didn't have anything to make this happen. But you're right. The universe brought me one step at a time along the way until finally found the right place. But I had it all in my head. I had this like the vision. I knew how it was going to happen. So I did a lot. I actually, created the LLC for the business back in 2020, when I didn't have a space. All I had was my vision. And and then just started talking to people and talking to people. So I'd say to anybody else out there who has a big vision, don't give up, because keep talking about it and living it as if it's really happening, because that's really the way it was for me.
Yeah, and that's a great example too of like our job is to keep the faith, right? You didn't know how this was going to work. You had somebody say no, it wasn't the right place, and that you still kept the faith of knowing that your dream was for you. And I think that that's really important for people to understand. Like our job during this is to keep the faith that it will happen and the universe will show you. And like you said, the no wasn't really like, no, this isn't your dream. It was, no, this isn't the perfect place for you, and to just remain in that belief and faith.
Yeah, yeah. It took a lot of like letting go along the way too, which was, it's sometimes painful. But when I have a vision of like, okay, this is it, this is it. And like you said, the universe said, no, we're not saying no to the vision, we're saying no to the timing or the place, and until it was right.
So how many years before you applied for the LLC did you have this vision?
Oh, it was about 11 years.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, like you said, sometimes it's, is it ever going to happen? But
Right.
then it does.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's really a good lesson in patience.
I know I didn't feel like I was being very patient because there were a lot of really frustrating times, but I think a lot of it is really, yeah, it was like growing into myself that I had to do. I had to have the confidence that I can do it, and and the skills and the wisdom and everything. But also along the way, I've met some fabulous people that are all on the team with me. And even, Lolly that you mentioned that introduced us, I met her along the way and worked with her in lots of, different capacities and different events and everything. And it's like, it all just happens, once the snowball starts, then it keeps going.
Mhm. And I think it's a good example of what our podcast says, the next perfect step,
Yeah.
where you're listening to your intuition and going like following that next nudge, and just seeing what unfolds and letting go of the outcome and letting go of the control of how are you going to make that happen, because you don't know how that's going to happen, right? You
Yeah.
don't.
I have
But
no
but
idea.
but you're delighted and surprised by the way it does happen. That's the fun part.
Right.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was still scary too, when it actually came to time to actually, put my name on the paper and commit to it, not only my money, my personal funds, my time, my energy, my career, my reputation, everything was on the line. I was like, okay, we're having a little panic attack, but we're okay, and we just kind of, but we do it anyway, because I was like, I'm not walking away from this. I've wanted this for so long. I'm just going to jump in with both feet and take the risk.
Mhm. So what have you been experiencing so far at the center?
Oh gosh. So we are, like I said, just building everything. So I'm myself a transformational energy healer and an intuitive medium. So I'm able to take my work there as well, which was really great because I've had, private clients for many years that I've worked with either distance, or I would have to sort of find a place to do my work out of, or to teach classes. I also teach a lot of spiritual classes. I teach sacred geometry classes, just lots of different things. And I never really had a landing place. I always had to find a studio or find a place. I actually taught one class at a wine shop, which was lots of fun. I teach intuitive development wherever, whatever opportunity I could. So what I've been experiencing now that I actually have a physical location is my creativity has really exploded, because now I'm like, oh my gosh, I should do this. Oh my gosh, I should do this. So I'm really putting myself out there with lots of classes and workshops, and we've done retreats, full day retreats, half day retreats, where I can really put my heart and soul and spirit all into it at once, and bring in new people, whether it's someone who's looking for, a private session with me or any of our other practitioners, or just to someone who's curious, like, oh, I don't know, I don't really get this spiritual thing, but I know I'm having experiences that I can't explain and I want to explore more. Or, someone who, like you were saying, the purpose of this podcast is to have a safe place to talk about these things that we might be experiencing, but we don't know who to talk to about it. And so that's really what we've been experiencing and building.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you have many avenues there too. I mean, I've seen you have a hypnosis, which I find fascinating. You have tarot readers. You have a whole studio downstairs for yoga and all kinds of that. And you have guests coming. I believe sometime soon you have somebody from Hawaii coming.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just fabulous, all the stuff you have to offer. And like with the hypnosis, I just found that it was many things I don't see in other places.
Right.
There's many things offered that I don't see in other retreat centers like that. So it was just fabulous.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And that's why this location works so well, because we can do lots of things at the same time. It's not just one studio space or one big room. We can have, private sessions for hypnotherapy. We could be doing Reiki, tarot card readings, yoga, and plus we have the outdoor space, like you mentioned, and educational classes as well, all happening at the same time. And as you mentioned, yes, October 18th, we're going to host Mirabai Devi, who is I would call her a guru, but she's a fascinating woman who spends half of her year in Hawaii and lives in the Northeast the other half of the year. And she's going to be teaming up with a kirtan band, not a Brahma kirtan, for a whole 3-hour event where she is a spiritual teacher, a leader, and then she gives light transmissions. So while you're there, and I've experienced this myself from her, it's incredible. She will transmit through her hands the divine light to you. So just being in attendance, you don't have to do anything. You just lie there or sit in a chair and receive. It's really incredible. And then you get to sing along with kirtan, which is fun too. So that's one of the things we have coming up in the fall. We're also going to be we have a beautiful kitchen, as you saw there. We're going to be doing some healthy eating programs. Also make easy ways to cook for the week, things that busy moms and busy people don't have time to really think about eating well, or people who live alone. I know when I used to live alone, I didn't cook for myself because I was like, yeah, what's the point, right? So I wasn't eating very well at all. So we're going to incorporate some healthy living types of programs. And the other group is writers and authors. We're hosting a big literary event on November 1st and 2nd, our first ever. It's called Voices of the Valley, and we're going to be hosting 24 authors plus spotlight speakers. So it's a great event for, book lovers, readers, authors, and holiday shoppers too. We're going to have a lot of products and books for all ages and all genres that you can shop from. So we've got lots going on.
That's great. Lori, you'd be interested in that. You just published your book.
Oh yeah, we'd love to have you.
I love what you said too with the offerings. I mean, there's part of us like your medium and the Reiki and stuff, which people consider woo-woo, right? And yet we can incorporate it in our everyday life. We can really ground that and make it more accessible, I guess. Like it's not all so woo woo, but it's like your daily meals and stuff, and you can incorporate your spirituality into all of that. And it's like you said, making a space for like-minded people to get together, learn new things, have a safe space to be able to talk about things that you're not sure to talk about because it sounds too far out there, but yet we really can ground all of that. Or I'm trying to think of the right word. Normalize it, I guess. So that it is incorporated in our everyday world, like our everyday life.
Right.
I think that's a good point. Yeah. Because we think that, I think the term woo-woo should be starting to fade away because really that's our natural, that's who we are. We're naturally spiritual. We're naturally aware. We're naturally expansive. And so I think that term should be starting to fade away because that's who we actually are. And to become more aware of that through these classes and workshops, that people are going to go realize that how important and wonderful and empowering those abilities and classes can be.
Yeah, and thank you, because we've also created a lot of events, or sometimes even just free things that are just groups and meetings where it's not even so much instructional, where you're not going there to learn something. It's just to be together and talk about your experiences. We run a group once a month called the Spiritual Exploration Meetup, and it's free and anybody can come and just talk about things like, I'm having, these dreams that I don't understand, or why am I seeing repeated numbers over and over again, or just sharing and learning from each other, in addition to, being able to attend a class or learn something on a particular subject. So that was part of the vision too, is to open it up for anybody who might be curious and just say, I don't know where to go from here, but I'm seeing a whole variety of things available that I can pick and choose what makes sense to me now.
Great.
That's a great offering. Yeah.
Thank you. And the other thing, to your point, Lori, about incorporating spirituality in everyday life. As I mentioned, I teach sacred geometry, and I'm teaching a lot of different classes in sacred geometry, which to many people can seem really out there. Can be like, oh, I don't get it. I wasn't good in geometry in school or math, or neither was I. But what I can do with this and put together a curriculum or a way that anybody can learn sacred geometry and how practical it is. It seems really far out there, but it's actually really practical, and I teach ways that we can use it in everyday life. You don't have to be a big spiritual person in order to use it, because it's something that we are made of, and it surrounds our life and our world all the time. So I like that too, is that we can bring in lots of different instructors with different expertise and material that they can share, and people can just, explore really what it's about.
Yeah, the sacred geometry really fascinated me.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Lori.
That's okay. No, I was just going to say that was the word I was looking for, practical.
Practical. Oh.
Yeah, I know that's true. Yeah. But the sacred geometry has always really fascinated me. I find, and I think it helps with the woo-woo aspect because it's very scientific as well.
Right.
Because it's the way the whole world is created. But I might have to come to some of those classes.
Yes, me too.
For that. That sounds great.
Yes. Well, I always talk about a man named Drunvalo Melchizedek. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he, he was on the science path through school and into college. And right before he was to get his degree in physics, he had this spiritual awakening. And the awakening was that there's no way that there can't be a creator, God, divine spirit, whatever you want to call it, and which he had denied in all of his previous years of studying science. And he had this spiritual awakening and said, wait, this can't be, because everything is so perfect, and there has to be some consciousness behind it. in order for the orbits of the planets and the, our lives and our bodies and everything being so perfect, there has to be some order or some consciousness behind it. So I always love using him as an example because he's a great example of being like, oh, wow, okay, so there is this whole world that he wasn't aware of. And now he teaches it.
Great.
That's great.
I'd love to take your classes about that too.
Oh, thanks.
Field trip.
Thank you. Yeah, and practical is important to me too, because I'm not someone who can just read a book and learn something. Like I can't, like if I wanted to learn sacred geometry, there's tons of books on it, but I can't just read a book and go, okay, I got it. I've never been able to learn that way. I have to learn by doing. So what I do is I try different things and I incorporate things into my own life. And then when they work for me, that's when I share it and teach others, because I have to make sure it's practical for me first.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we were excited that to hear about Apollo because we're, the three of us are starting to do our own workshops, and we're going to do our second one actually going within on September 21st at
Right.
Apollo. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's the three of us that are going to be there. And we did our first one at Kim's Ravens Rest Ranch, and that went really well.
Wow.
So we're excited to be kind of becoming a part of your team and your group there. So we're excited. Just
Thank
such
you.
a beautiful space, such a beautiful opportunity to be there, and then I just I just love the whole space. So welcoming and
It
it's
is.
a great energy. I really have to
Thank
say.
you. Thank you. Well, we are honored to have you as well, to share your expertise and your experience in this, in that wonderful workshop. And I also think, yeah, the land itself is very healing where we are, but the horses help a lot too. I think they do a lot of healing just by, I mean, sometimes I just sit with my coffee and look out the window and like watch the horse run around, and it's like healing right there.
Mhm.
Don't have to do anything else.
I agree with that.
Yeah. But maybe if you want to share a little bit about what people might experience when you come and do your workshop in September.
Sure.
Yeah, I also just want to say that I loved the way you talked about how it's not just a teaching, but a conversation. I mean, that's basically what we started the podcast for, so that we could have like a roundtable conversation. And that's really the way the three of us do it. We're not there to teach, but we're there to share our experience, what we've learned along our path, and to open it up to discuss other people's, and maybe, something, light bulb goes off and says, oh, yes, we talk about, you hear a lot about everything is within. But what exactly does that mean? And that's really what our workshop, or the way we even did it the first time, was a roundtable discussion. We sat in a circle so that we could have a discussion about what does it really mean to go within, and how is it that it's all the answers are inside of us, when we don't always, but when the most of the time we feel like we don't have the answers. And how do we hear those answers, and how do we find that within ourselves, is really some of the basis of what we talk about. Lori discusses, I'll have you talk about how you discuss how journaling can help you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so sometimes like everything is within us. So if we do find that central space and we just listen, sometimes all you have to do is sit and listen, and you get some answers, you get some insights, and just writing them down or asking yourself, what does my soul need me to know today? Or how can I be of service? Asking yourself like prompting questions to explore deeper the answers that are already inside you. And that's a good practice. And sometimes if people don't like to journal, if that's not comfortable for them, you can just, speak into a audio recorder or write into your computer, but just recording what you're sensing and receiving the messages that are coming from within. And then you have like a way to look and say, okay, this was last week. This was the week before. What's the pattern? What's going on? What's coming through? And that's a good tool to just open yourself up. That's how actually I started my blog on Substack. I just started writing down what was coming through in the middle of the night sometimes. And some insights. So that's how that started. But I think it's such a powerful tool and such a good way to discover what we are, what's evolving within ourselves. And we sometimes so often we reach outside. We're like, okay, what do we need to go? What book do we need to go to? What teacher do we need to see? And that's all good. But if you just sit in silence and just sit in silence and receive and listen, all those answers come up.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that, because there are, so many people who struggle with that every single day, and they might have come to their midlife and never realizing that they've never really gone within. Like they run their life based on what's present, what the family needs and what the job needs and all these things. And they've never given themselves the opportunity that you are doing by being able to come together and say, okay, well, if they come in and they say, I can't meditate because I can't shut my mind off. Well, there are 3 other things you can do to help redirect your focus back to yourself instead of looking elsewhere, like you said. That's beautiful. A way to share so many ways to do that.
Thank you.
And I incorporate nature into this workshop. And, like I think a lot of people forget that we are nature, and it's important to tap into the frequencies and the vibration of the earth, and be able to, get into that state of peace and have that be a tool. Even if you're looking at pictures and you're in the city and you can't get out, there's other ways to be able to, really ground yourself and become part of who you really truly are, which is nature. So that's the part that I bring to it.
That's beautiful. I mean, just again, having that awareness is, you will take people halfway there, because I don't think we think about nature until we're ready to like go to the beach or go for a hike or something, otherwise we don't really think about it. So the way you're going to present it is fantastic, and I need it too. I need the too.
Yeah, I'm fortunate because I live on a lot of land, and I feel like I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere, and I don't have anybody really directly beside me or anything. So I'm a little spoiled in that department, but it's really helped me to be able to show people how to utilize it too. So it's good.
Right.
But I am excited about watching those horses when I go there, because the Andalusians are just fabulous looking horses. I mean, they're incredible.
Yeah.
It's a great place.
Thanks.
And Lori talks about the practices that she has written about in her book during, living your dream life, and different techniques to find ways to go within.
Wonderful.
Did you talk about that, Lori?
I will during the workshop, but there's some practices that I use from the book. But I think it's exciting that our podcast, The Next Perfect Step, the 3 of us and Apollo, we're just so aligned with so many different things, offering we have had many, many guests. I think, we've said many times that our paths are all different. They all look alike. They're individual to us. And there's so many different avenues and things that will relate and resonate with you. And it's not just what we've used, or it's not just what we know. We've offered this podcast up. I mean, we've had many guests where we had no idea these avenues even existed. And it was fascinating for us to get to hear about different people's past and different modalities out there, which is what you offer at Apollo 2. As well as that we're really big on the round table, open discussion, safe place to just bring like-minded people together to have these expansive conversations. So I was really excited on to see the energy of just, how much we resonated together. So I was really excited for you guys and for us.
Thank you. Thank you. I am too. I think there's so much potential. It's like, we just start with one thing, one thing that you want to bring to Apollo and me being here today, and you never know where it's going to grow from there. So much potential. But I love it. And I love just being able to create a community, both virtually like this and in person at Apollo Sunrise Center, where people feel like they are a part of something, that they are a part of a community and not so isolated anymore, and feeling like they have to figure everything out on their own. It's a very welcoming place to be, with both virtually and in person. So I'm glad that you offer that too.
Can you tell us about how we can find out more about Apollo Sunrise Center?
Oh, sure. So you can go to our website, which is apollosunrise.com. And on the website, you'll see services, and you'll also see our calendar for all of our upcoming events. And we have a lot. We have a lot of events that we're adding more and more every day. You can also sign up for our email list on the website. And the services you can also book. You book with an individual practitioner. We have, like we said, hypnotherapy. We have my private sessions and intuitive mediumship and energy healing, tarot card reader, Reiki, and astrology, and just a whole variety of services that you can get as well. And then if you come in person, we also have a gift shop. So we have all natural things like soaps, candles, skincare products, jewelry, some really nice local made, handmade products as well. So that's all on in person, and then also at apollosunrise.com. We are also on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn under Apollo Sunrise Center. And I also have my own website, which is leahmhill.com, that will also link to my private sessions as well. And on there, you can get a little bit more information about me, my background. I have some other videos and testimonials and things like that on there as well.
And we will put that all below in the comments in the link, so you can easily find Leah and Apollo.
Thank you.
So does anybody have? Go ahead.
Yeah, do you have anything to add, anybody, before we close?
No, I just want to say I think your story is inspiring, holding on to your vision, because I've sort of had to do that myself a little bit, and I know how hard that is. So, so kudos to you for that. That's great.
Thank you. It was tough, but it makes it worth it. When you finally do get there, you're like, okay. And then you sort of, I guess it's like giving birth. I've never given birth, but people say that you go through the labor and the pain, but then once the baby's born, you kind of forget about all that other stuff. And that's kind of the way I feel. It was kind of like just a very long birthing process.
Well, it's magnificent. So it's just going to keep getting better, I think. So
Thank
that's
you.
great.
Yeah, and what a beautiful example for everybody to show how to hold the faith, and that your dreams really can come true.
Thank you. And lots of ways that you never thought.
And that's wonderful. Well, we want to thank you for being part of our show, and we hope you all have enjoyed this episode. Please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, how is your intuition leading you to the next perfect step?